Now you may well be asking at this point, why in practice, in the real world, why would you ever really want to do a left join? Why would you be interested in matching? In this case, we've got the models there, they're not matching with the products, and you've got these null substitutions for the columns in the product table. Why would you want all this stuff? Why would you be interested in rows where there is no matching? Well, I'll demonstrate why. I'll shift the columns around so that the model columns are on the left-hand side, which intellectually kind of makes sense because we're dealing with a left join, and we can sort of see what's happening. Okay, so we've got the model columns on the left-hand side, and I put them on their own row there. I've ordered by the model prime key. If we scroll down, if we go right down, we can see the one that I created there, the one that we know for a fact definitely has no models. It gets returned and nulls in the product columns. Now, there is a very handy reason for doing this. Let's say we wanted to get a list of all the models that had no products, sort of orphan models. Let's say there was a business requirement to find this out. How do we do that? Dead simple, and the left join is going to help us. I'll show you how. Okay, what have I just written? Where the product ID, the prime key, is null. In other words, identify all these rows where there is no product. In other words, it's substituted with all these weird looking null values. Now, the reason I've said get me all the ones where product ID is null is because, let's say we had a product ID that the name was null, or one of the other columns was null. So we don't want to go get me all the ones where product name is null, because there could be a match, and it just happens to be that on that product record it had a null name for some weird reason. However, because every row in a table always has a prime key, it is physically impossible to have a prime key that is null. Because the product records always have a product ID if they exist, then if we identify the ones where the product ID, the prime key, is null, we know for a fact it's going to be one of these funny sort of vacant space rows here. So that's how it's done. Let's execute it and see what happens. And hey presto, we've got 10 product models that have no related products because the product prime key is null. If there was a product, it would have a prime key and it would be listed here, but it doesn't, so it's not. So what we're seeing here, a left join, and where the right-hand table's key is null, is the way to find out where there's something here, but there's nothing here. Now, there's another very legitimate reason for using left joins, and it's to do with when we use queries in reports or maybe display screens in some sort of a user interface when we're displaying the data. And I'll give you a demonstration. Let's say we have designed a Crystal report that lists the product model, and below it on the page lists the products, and it would look something like this. Now, I'm going to demonstrate the data for this report, I'm going to change this where clause. Let's say I am going to select where just 2 products. I'm going to select one product model where the model does have a product attached to it, and one model which does not have a product attached to it. So, okay, where the product model is either 1 or 129. And here we go. This is product number 1. It matches with 3 products. And this is number 129, the funny one that I created, which of course is not linked to any product. And we've got the nulls there. So what would that look like in a report? Well, it would probably look something like this. You would have a header being the model, and then you would have a grid being the products that it's linked to. And when it came to Mike's dummy model that has no products linked to it, the name there would be the header, and under the header there would be a grid of nothing because there's no products. So what's the difference if we use a left join or an inner join? Well, let's turn it to an inner join and see what happens. Mike's dummy model has disappeared because it doesn't satisfy the join on the right-hand table. How would that affect the report? Well, it would look like this. The Mike's dummy row page would completely disappear because it wasn't returned in the query. We never saw the row with Mike's dummy model on it. So therefore, because it's nowhere in the query, it will not show up in the report. You would get a blank page or no page at all. So that's serious because that's losing us important information. The report probably needs to show that there is no product linked to Mike's dummy model. But because Mike's dummy model is not there at all, we're losing critical information. So let's just recap the 2 points we covered about why left joins are a good thing. Left joins may be preferred because when they are applied to reports, they may make headers appear where they otherwise would not, and they enable us to highlight missing data in the right-hand side table.